Hey, welcome everyone to Making Waves. How about that? Look at that. Listen, tonight, guys, we got a ShipRocked favorite, and I can't wait for this conversation because he's a Michigan boy like the co-host here, Chad. Everyone, please welcome Leigh from Pop Evil. Leigh, thank you, my brother. Thank you for joining us.
Awesome.
On this very special, real quick, guys, before we start, we're going to go into a lot of stuff with Leigh and what's going on with the band and their new music and the album and everything he's been doing with his time off. This is a first for us. We're going to do this live stream. We wanted to make sure that we have the ShipRocked community watching these interviews and these podcasts. So what we're going to do is for the first 30 minutes, we're going to do a live stream. We'll take your questions and you guys can kind of have some banter going on. And then after that, we'll sign off from the live stream, but the podcast will keep going, and make sure to check out the rest of the podcast and what we've been talking about, including Walk the Plank and Would You Rather that we're going to do with Leigh at the end of it. And that'll be dropping on Monday, the 26th. So look for that. And we'll obviously let you guys know on all our social channels what's happening. But for now, you're joining us and we're here with Leigh. Buddy, thank you, man. Again, appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm excited to be on. And anything like this is that much step closer to being back out on ShipRocked and being back playing. I'm down.
Absolutely. Absolutely it is. Listen, first thing, let's talk about it, man. You got the new album coming out, Versatile.
Yes.
The singles have been out. The new one, Breathe Again, is like just killing it at Active Rock. Can you tell us what's going on with the record and how it came to be? Just kind of, your nuts and bolts of Versatile.
Yeah, everything, we did it pre-COVID, so everything was set to kind of come out last spring. And we had a tour set up around it as well. And little behold, just towards the end of it, I think maybe we had maybe 2 songs, a song and a half left to go. And then we were out in LA and they were going to shut down the city. So, we all kind of split up and went our separate ways just because we thought at that time, we thought it'd be a couple months, we're like, okay, cool. Hopefully this will, as probably most of the world did, maybe we'll be back by spring, things will be back to normal. Spring led to summer. We're like, all right, well, maybe we'll be back by fall. And then, once summer hit, it was kind of evident that this was going to be going on at least a year, so here we are, things now, the powers that be, finally now we're in a position to release this album. And, we couldn't be happier, man. Finally, it's here.
Yeah, you guys have an interesting, we Chad and I talked to several people who've come on and how you guys selectively putting some singles out over time. Keeping the fans engaged, keep giving them something new to listen to. Then right now you're setting yourself up perfectly to drop the album. Who is it coming out in May? Are we talking May for this one?
May 21. Yep.
Yeah, there we go. So, and then basically people have all summer to enjoy it. And then they see it, fingers crossed as a live experience this fall.
Right. It's exactly right. You just try to put it out. You want to stay relevant. We got the material out, but obviously release stuff, there's a lot of entities involved. There's a label, there's managers, there's booking agents, there's a lot of people behind the scenes, and you try to do what's best for your Pop Evil team or family. And so far the Pop Evil team has been amazing. I mean, they've been so gracious and working hard during this whole COVID experience and putting these stuff out, in a timely fashion. I know that I speak for the band on this, that we're all very excited, and we're hopeful that the fans are enjoying as much as they can. But obviously, we're all looking forward to this album, and hopefully playing by fall, like you said.
Yeah, before we went live, I spoke to you and told you I've been listening to Breathe Again for a while today before we started this, because I just wanted to familiarize myself with everything. And it really does feel like you guys took the time off to really create some really strong songs.
Appreciate it.
And Breathe Again is a perfect example. It's got some really heavy intro, great big chorus, and all the things that we look for in a rock song, right? So
I actually heard it on my ride back to my house today as I was like scrambling to get ready. I heard it 3 times on the radio in the past couple of days, and obviously, I always turn it up when. Love the band, and on top of it, we're both from Detroit, so I'm like, fuck yeah!
Yeah, I love it.
It really is an incredible, the shift that you're doing is fucking perfect. It's awesome. It sounds great. If you haven't heard the song yet, you should be listening to it right now, because it's everything that you love about the band, and then it just feels like the future. It feels like something new skin. It's good. It's great.
No, you're right. It's always trying to push the boundaries, trying to outdo yourself. That's the true competition, right? I mean, obviously we want to be successful and You want to succeed compared to your peers, but the big picture and long term, you want to better yourself, right? You want to leave your legacy the right way, and every album see that growth. And we're always thinking about, like you said, the future, and thinking about the live show and how we can better bring more songs to that live show experience. You know, the peaks and valleys of life have always been relatable to that Pop Evil live show. And, you know, growing up in Michigan like we have, I mean, there's a lot of ups and downs in the state. It snowed today for us in Michiganders that were in Michigan today is brutal, you know, and that constant kind of wait for the good weather, you know, even growing up as a kid, you know, and then when spring hits, it's like they took the cap off the top of you and you were ready to just go and explore. Kind of like how that was in the studio this time. We're like, look, man, we don't have to have anything hold us back. Let's go grind. Let's capture that energy. This album too, we used different producers. We really wanted to capture that live demo energy. You know, it's something when you do live demos, if I was playing those demos for you or the fans at home, they'd be like, oh my God, I love that demo. I can't wait to hear it when it's final, when it's done. What happens is you get another producer and then you go back and try to re-record and capture that energy. Just an impossible thing. So what we try to do this time around is whenever that energy, whatever we liked about the demos, we wanted to build around that. So whether it was a vocal on Breathe Again, for example, I mean, the chorus is exactly the first 2 days in the studio when I birthed it. When that energy, we're jumping up and down like, oh crap, dude, this is how I feel. This is that release. This is that moment when the melody kind of marries the lyric and you're like, wow, we got something special here. That's what you hear. We didn't go recut it, you know, 2 months later. A lot of that, and even the guitar riffs in those opening sessions were like, wow, this is just special. Let's not try to recut that. Let's build on that and add to that. So definitely, I think that's why this album is clearly our best one. I think you're going to hear a lot of that on this album. The high excitement, obviously the energy I said, just the passion, the grind, and hopefully that translates to that live show experience. Obviously we haven't been able to play any of them yet. So we're going to actually have the fans sing the songs back to us before we even get a chance to play it. So that's going to be different.
That's always the advantage right there is like, there's that window where it's like, if we put it out too early, they'll familiarize with the songs, but they're also kind of like maybe burnt out by it, but it's still after 3 or 4 months, it's still very fresh in people's minds. Chad mentioned it is very futuristic sounding, but what I always loved about you guys is like, it always feels like a little retro to me, like 80s, kind of like melodic hard rock. Like I'm not saying White Lion, but it's got that thing where it's like, it's not assaulting my ears, but it's rocking them, but there's this melody line and you really do work those vocals when it gets to the chorus. So it's got that kind of feel, you know, maybe like a Def Leppard Pyromania era kind of thing.
I love it. Very, very complimentary. You know, I just think it's just our blue collar roots, you know, and you know, growing up in Michigan, I just think it's just infused in me as a frontman, as a lyricist of this band. It just kind of comes out no matter what kind of music you put underneath me. That kind of vibe has always been just how I grew up. You know, I call it, it's just that cereal city mentality, right? We were always the test market for cereal. So I always joke about that reference because it's true. Like when I go into Walmart or Meijer's here in Michigan, you know, I go shopping for cereal. It's always like, oh my God, they got these new cereals. Call your friends and family around the country. They're like, oh, I haven't had that yet. So, you know, it's that same kind of, you know, always getting stuff thrown at you here in the Midwest. It just kind of always, and maybe why the Pop Evil sound has always been growing and mixing. We've always been infusing other styles and genres. Is we always want to try new stuff, man. Like we don't want to stand still. Again, we want our live show to be even more exciting and enjoyable. But at the same time, this album especially, we wanted to respect that our metal and rock roots. You know, we wanted the heavy to be heavy as we've ever been, and infuse, like you said, if we have to infuse that sound, but make sure the drum tones, the guitar tones had to be different and unique. You know, I think you get better as a studio musician as the years go on. You know, all the 5 albums previous, things you couldn't do, or maybe you ran out of time, or you got pushed on. Oh no, it's busy. We got to get it out. No, this time I was like, you know, no. We're going to do it on our terms, the band's terms now. We'll put it out when we're ready. You know, we want to take 2 weeks and just dabble on guitar tones. You know what I mean? And or even if it's effects, let's go through. I'll go. How many effects? 390. Okay, let's go through all of them right now. I'll start. Let me hear that one. Let me hear that one. And not just me, the guitar players, you know, even the bass player and our drummer, you know, they're all, we weren't just thinking like certain music. We weren't just thinking our position. We were thinking about the song and just our personalities, what we could bring to each part. So it was rad. It was a rad experience.
Yeah, it's unpredictable. You know, like what I've heard already come out till this day is like, I feel like what you were saying here is somewhat about the Michigan vibe, the mentality of where we are in the Midwest. You got to grind, you got to push, you got to be ahead of what somebody else is going to think you're going to do, so you can stay afloat, because we're the underdogs, you know, like we've always been looked at that way. And that's why we always succeed here, because you never know where we're going to come for you at, but we're going to come for you. And, you know, we're going to make you think, make you look, make you turn your head, and hopefully make you ride, you know?
No, you said do it really right. Well. You nailed it. You nailed it. I appreciate it. Thank you. But it's that underdog. You said it best. That underdog mentality is like we have that extra anger, I think, just infused. We're always pissed off about that stuff. You know, you always hear about New York, LA, and you're like, what about us in D? Or what about us in Michigan? You know, like, you know, what do we matter less? Our voices, you got no problem sending us all the test stuff for our opinions. But like when it comes down to supporting us, you don't got no love for us. So again, that's been infused in me as well. Not just me, but all my buddies that I grew up with. All that kind of like passion, and you can't just at some point blame the situation. You have to like come out there and go for it. And I think that's, you know, definitely you see that on this record. Like, okay, let's just go for it. You know, like who cares? You're not a victim. We're not victims. We're opportunists. You know, that's the idea of what it, you know. You guys do it real well, man. I just wanted to mention that because when you were speaking, I was like, yeah, man, that's fucking Michigan all day long. That Midland, you know. It's funny. Yeah, part of it, baby. That's it.
The rock and roll fashion designer John Vravatos, what he said about Detroit. I was watching that Cream magazine documentary. He said the great thing about Detroit and music is Detroit has grit, and that's what leads to the way the sound is and people's ability to come back from being down or knocked down, or as you guys say, kind of this underdog mentality where it's just like we have to grit this, stick it through. You grind to success. You grind your way to success. It's never given to you. So I thought that was a really good statement about Detroit.
Well, it's an interesting thing because we always get asked on every interviews, is any advice to other bands? And maybe you're onto something there. Like there's a grit in me that like, if people don't like the band or they don't like the song, or they don't like the band name, or all the years previous before we were successful, all the no's I got, it just never bothered me. Like I didn't care what they thought. You know, I always knew I had something special in me. I always knew I had something special with the band members around me. We just had to prove it, you know? And I think that grit that you're talking about with Barbados said is that, yeah, you just don't take no for an answer. Like if you have that passion to get out of here, to get out of the state of Michigan, you have to, you know, I always said that the saying was, I spent my whole life trying to get out of Michigan just to realize with success, I just want to come back. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's interesting that where you come from, that grit that you're talking about in Michigan, it's in you, and you're right. It makes you kind of push a little harder because you're so used to getting no your whole life, you know?
Before Chad chimes in here, I've got a question from one of our ShipRockers, and I think it's I'd love to hear your answer. This is from Tim. He goes, at what point did you feel like you made it?
Yeah, I get that a lot. I don't think I've ever felt that. You know, there's still tons of people that don't know who the band is. You know, I think we probably reached a level where people, at least at the rock format, the active rock format, where people have heard of the band name. That doesn't mean they know what we look like. You know, I don't think that we're certainly not a headline band at every city across the country yet. So, you know, have we made it? I don't know. I don't think I ever even think about that.
Okay. Just curiosity. I figure there's gotta be some times though when there's some satisfaction, whether it's being on the Disturbed tour, doing arenas, and things like that, to where you are getting noticed, like, hey, this is a band we want with us on the road.
Yeah. What was the question? Like, do I ever feel satisfaction? Is that what?
Yeah. Like, there's.
Sure. I mean, I think it's in moments. You know, I don't think it's ever like, yeah, dude, we crushed it. I mean, any satisfaction you get.
Sure.
This business is so. It's all about the next, right? It's all about the next song, the next single. So yeah, that was a great tour, Disturbed. But then as soon as you're halfway through it, you're like, okay, what's next?
What's next? Right.
We're just trained like never, or just like the next ShipRocked, right? We're in paradise. But that last couple of days, you're like, oh, dang it, it's almost over. What next? You know what I mean? So it's like, or you're already talking about with your fellow ShipRocker friends or fans, you're like, and even the fans, right? They're like, when's the next time you're coming on? I'm like, well, we're here right now. We got one more show to go. You know, so like there's always that mentality.
But that's the high. That's the endorphins. Like what's going to get me through? It's like, it's this crazy addiction.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, exactly right.
Hey, Leigh, do you like, are you into stand-up comedy at all? Like comedians, stuff like that? Do you see them live? And whatnot?
Do I go?
Yeah. Are you familiar with like the nucleus of what that is? Like how their world,
so.
works, I suppose.
I used to go to more before the band was bigger. Nowadays, I don't get to go as much, you know, just because I'm uncomfortable in public differently now than I was back then. But it's cool. I love the vibe. You know, when we would go, you know, especially around here in Michigan, you know, you go get your cocktail, sit back, and just see who could make you laugh. You know, but absolutely, I think I'm familiar.
So the reason why I brought it up is it's funny. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. Music, right? We write this record, right? We spend a lot of time being very secretive about what's going to happen in this record, right? And then we go and spend a lot of time making it sound, those compositions, making them sound what they, at least to the public, what we're hearing in our mind. And then we put it out, right? And then we go and play those fucking songs every night, right? And you're thinking, the whole entire time you're thinking about the next album, but you're on stage playing that piece of work, right? And that's how our business moves forward. The complete opposite happens with comedians who are out there working comedy rooms or new material, whatever it is, open mic, whatever it is. They go and they do exactly what we're doing before we go on the road, right? And then they record a special, and then they never fucking touch that material again. And I think there's something so romantic about both processes. But when you were talking about it, it immediately reminded me of like that conversation I had. And what do you think? I got to know, like, what do you think about that process of what we do, you know, as musicians versus like something like that? It's interesting, right? It's a
crazy thought. I mean, to be honest, I haven't thought about it, but now that you brought it to my attention, I think it's very interesting, right? Because we have the advantage of a musician is you have your old catalog, right? It's a blessing and a curse, right? Because you write this music early on in the process for yourself, right? You try to, not every song's about me anymore, but I'm always thinking about the fans and how little elements of my life can be relatable to every song I write, you know? So you do, it's kind of like kids, your children, right? You send them off into the world, you hope they succeed, blah, blah, blah. But you're right, from a stand-up comedy perspective, any success you have, you can never touch it again. So that's an amazing thing. And in some ways, the only correlation musically is you're constantly trying to write a better song. And so, you know, for me, the hits, people ask all the time, like, what's your favorite song? Or what do you listen to? Do you ever listen to your own stuff at home? The answer is no. I don't ever listen to my back catalog, so much so that I got called out. I remember, I'll never forget, must have been 2010 or 2011. We were on a boat, Minnesota, I'll never forget it. And Hero came on, which was our very first single. I don't remember, I wrote Hero. It came out in 2008. I probably wrote it 3 years before it came out, just so we could get, Hero was one of those songs that got me the next step to get signed, to get the record deal. So by the time that song was released in 2008, I was 2 albums deep onto new stuff. So you're exactly right. I wasn't even thinking about, and I remember being on that boat, I'm like, damn, that sounds like one of our songs. And they're like, are you fucking with us? And I'm like, no. What do you mean? You know, they're like, that's your fucking song. I'm like, no, shut up. And sure enough, it was Hero. I'm like, oh my God, I'm embarrassed. I haven't heard it in so long. You know, so you're exactly right. Like in a way, we don't go back to the old material either. It's just our old material is a link between our fans that brings them closer to you, right? You think about some of our favorite songs, my favorite songs growing up. If I go see my favorite band, or I'll just use some Michigan reference, like, cause you know, I mean, I grew up a huge Kid Rock fan because I'm from Michigan. So, you know, when I would go see Kid Rock, if I hear Bow to the Wall, even though I know that whole camp differently now, I still takes me back to when I'm a kid. And, you know, maybe I'm watching Woodstock, you know, and they're burning all this up, the last Woodstock in '99, when people were going nuts. And I'm just like, Bow to the Wall. I mean, I still think about them coming into like Royal Oak or even Grand Rapids at the time, when I remember someone he did like one song, someone threw an empty beer bottle at him and flipped us off. It's like, I'm out of here. And I remember thinking, that's Kid Rock. And he was all hyped up, you know, for weeks before we could see that show. And I saw one song. So, you know, I still think that song to this day is my link with him. Even though I may know those guys and celebrities in a different way, the link that I really have with them is that song back in my past. So, you know, I think that's interesting. And in some ways, even as a comedian, right? Like I think about some of my favorite comedians, they might not do the material, but I mean, how many people can recite word for word Eddie Murphy Raw? I know a bunch of them. There's some of it, they're those kind of people, right? They can say every saying from a movie. I'm like, how do you remember that? I don't even remember what I did 2 hours ago, but they can recite the whole movie for you. So in some ways, that back catalog of a comedian to this day is like, you know, I remember I just saw recently some guy was saying to Steve Carell, like, well, that's what she said. And he's just like, I don't ever even say that. I don't want to ever hear that again for the rest of my life. And I'm thinking, but we think about such good memories with him.
Sure.
You know, and a part of me was like, damn it, Steve, do that. That's what she said again. Do it. but he didn't want to do it, man. You know, it's been so long. He's got to think of new material because he's a comedian at heart. So there's a lot of cool similarities, but that is the link. The way that the things that really stands out to me is how that is a link with your fans to connect with you. So being able to play those songs, that back catalog every night, is a huge thank you to the fans. It's a big thank you maybe to the fans for us to be like, hey, we're one, you know?
Totally. You nailed it. I think it's so weird to think about. Like, I'm jealous, you know, of that process. But then I think about it the other way. Is like, I would hate to be out and be like imagine me like, do the she says joke.
Do the she said again, and you're like, oh, I can't do it.
I did it that one time. You know, like the whole process. So, anyways,
well, we get it as musicians too, right?
Totally.
We get it as the ultimate Leonard Skinner curse. Well, we get the ultimate Leonard Skinner curse, right? Someone in the back, play Freebird! You know what I mean? So they're all doing the thing. So we kind of get it.
Yeah.
Totally. The thing to do, though, is go ahead and play the damn thing in its entirety and just torture the shit out of them and go, do you regret asking now because it's 15 minutes long? You just ate into the 2 singles we were going to do, but you know, you got your way. Hey, listen, we got another question if you don't mind. This is from Chris. Leigh, she asks, now that traveling bans restrictions are slowly being lifted, where are you looking forward to traveling to? Just personally, it doesn't have to be with the band. It can be personal.
Honest answer, I haven't thought about traveling at all, just because that gets my hopes up, you know. So I've been really, even though I think we have shows booked in July and August, and I've been asked that a lot. I'm not thinking about it until I'm actually on stage singing. Then I'll get excited. But if I'm thinking about it now, it'd be great to tour anywhere. Just getting on the tour bus and the controlled chaos that is a truck stop shower. You know, going over the border to Canada, like all the stuff we took for granted, anywhere at this point. I mean, I would love to just, it's not so much that I want to travel. I just want to see the people, man. I want to hear their voices. I want to hear this. I want to hear that roar. I want to smell that bullshit smell in a venue when you pull up and it smells fucking horrible. And you're like, oh God, I welcome that smell. I want to see, you know, when it's the stage open, like it's that
shit
morning
we took for granted.
Up, you know, and there's all the drunk beer and booze from the night before. And you smell it rotting, you know, on the floor and the carpets. Like I miss all of that. You know, I miss the people, man. I don't necessarily miss the travel.
Hey, listen, before we lose the live stream feed, I got one other good question. I think this is several parter, if you don't mind. This is from Amy. Loving the artwork for Versatile. The visuals, the visualizers and videos are fantastic. He goes, does the visuals and the artistic merit of the albums, does that affect your music and how you go about it? Is that like, you know, do you think about the visuals and the concept while you're writing the music?
100%. And that's the hardest part, right? Because the visual in my head, I'm a good writer. I'm good at writing lyrics down. I'm not always good at expressing my visual idea. Usually when you make a song, you know, I can see the video played out in my head. Whether they all end up being videos like that, they don't. But, you know, you kind of put yourself in that character's position or that person's position, you know, you try to write from that vibe. Same thing with the art, you know, visually. Usually it comes after the record, you know. I have a couple concepts for the first time with our future albums of where I might be able to take it, starting with the visual. But for the most part, the previous visuals come after. You listen to music, sit there maybe with my eyes shut, listen to it all front to back 4 or 5 times, you know, and go drive in the car for a couple hours and, you know, see what comes to my head, you know. And this actually, ironically, we had a new artist, Pedro from Brazil, came in and, you know, I kind of was talking to him about things in my head and he kind of had an interpretation of what I was telling him. And he literally, normally I'm 3 or 4 takes in, no, it needs to be a little like this, or what about this one take? I was like, my God, dude, you nailed it. Like, we don't even need to do this again. Just polish up what you did, roll. And same thing with the music video stuff they did, you know, with Breathe Again. And our team, especially going through COVID, unbelievable. You know, I feel like the creativity has just stepped up because people have so much more time to focus on it. So, you know, maybe that was it, but man, I'm just so proud of the guys and the team, of course, the band, everyone dealing with it, coming together to get these visuals done right. Super, super stoked about it.
Yeah, the video, when I was watching the video for Breathe Again, I was like little bits and pieces of, I think it was George Lucas's THX 1138? Was that, you know, when they're, you know, it's the all white scenery and someone's getting chased. Yeah, so that's what came to mind. So I was like, wow,
I love it.
That really stands out. So guys, if we're going to, I don't know when the live feed's going to leave, but it's just the way magic happens. If you guys are interested in what's going on, because we are going to talk about what's coming up for the band for the next probably year or two. And then also we're going to talk about Leigh's ShipRocked experience. And then also we're going to do Walk the Plank and Would You Rather with him. So I'm sure you guys are going to want to check that out. But again, remember, Monday, the 26th, we'll be dropping that one. So look for that. But stick with us until we say goodbye. But we're going to keep going.
Exactly. So Leigh, man, like the thing I wanted to kind of touch base with you on is outside of music and writing this record, we're all people, right? There's things that happen in our lives during COVID, during the during lockdown. You said you guys did the record in Los Angeles and you were kind of like sort of stuck out there, right?
Yep, exactly.
I went through the same thing. I was not making a record. I was out there for another reason and got stuck in Los Angeles from like March 10th to like July 20th. Right?
Oh, wow.
It sucked. I mean, I also lived downtown. I lived between here and Detroit, and I would live downtown. So it was a whole thing. But regardless of my shit, when you did get to go home back to Michigan, what was kind of like keeping you thinking about the eye and the prize, keeping your eyes on the prize? You know, like that, the idea of like, oh shit, we talked about it before when we first started. Like, I don't know when we're going to go back on the road, but clearly this is going to be a lot longer. So what did you like wake up thinking about to keep you going?
It's a great question. Ironically, it wasn't music. My eye on the prize changed. You know, like we were set to finish the album around mid-March maybe, and then we were going to have 2 to 3 weeks off. And usually when Pop Evil, 10 days is our like rough amount of time off. We don't ever get more than that. And if we do, it's very, very rare. So it was a longer break. So I know we were really excited to, recover. At the time, I was going through some vestibular issues with my ears and I was very dizzy. I had some like vestibular neuritis. If anyone's dealt with that, brutal. You know, I was dizzy. I didn't know how I was going to do this tour coming up. I was like, and it's taken me a year. Finally, I'm, back to normal here now, but it probably didn't help that I was COVID sitting in one spot. I feel like if we would have been up rolling a tour, maybe I would have been, better quicker. But it was a scare to me to let me know that, look, man, I've been doing this since I was 14 years old. So my ears, my body was telling me, like, you need to take advantage of this now. Like, the playing and touring will take care of itself. Like you have to focus on you. So I literally went vegetarian for a year. I just started eating meat a little bit now, just because I was just getting so weak. I was like, I need some meat. And the goal was just to eat healthier, start that, let my voice rest, no singing at all. Just do anything else. Just, if it's 2 months, great. If it's a year, you deserve it. You know what I mean? Just take care of your body. So my goals, my other part shifted. I felt great about our team. Like I said, the album was done, so I had a little bit of a head start. Right around summer, I started writing again, doing some stuff. But a lot of times when it comes to, I don't know how it is for you, but when I go to write, I want all new stuff. I don't care. God himself came down and said, that's your next hit. No, I want to start fresh. And the new album, it's about release, right? It's let my energy come out. I don't want anything old, and then once you get 3 or 4 songs kind of away, if we got to go back, then maybe. But I wasn't thinking about music, man. I was like thinking about anything else to try to get my mind off it. I really needed to feel like I could energize my batteries. And I knew that I know to this day, once we get back again, it's probably going to be a madhouse, a lot of work, a lot of stress to get promoters, venues happy, obviously get people, comfortable to get back on a ship again. A lot of issues that, you guys are dealing with too, a lot of concerns we all have, and can we do meet and greets again? I don't know how to do meet and greet, not hug or handshake your fans, and that's just not how I roll. So there's a lot of those things I didn't really want to think about. So I focused on different things, and got into some of my hobbies I haven't done. Talked about you guys off camera. Got in the sports card boom. I'm a huge sports guy, so it was great to kind of go back and some of that and take my mind off. When am I going to play again? Because again, we were the first to stop. We'll be the last ones to come back. So the last thing.
Isn't it always funny? Every time there's some issue in the world, they always want to put together a concert in order to raise funds. But then when we're kind of like, hey kids, we could use some help here, they kind of like, oh, you guys, huh?
Don't even get us started, right? We could talk for hours about how upset he is. But again, just trying to stay positive, man. Like we can't control that stuff. But I don't know. Like I said, getting into some carpenter skills. I'm a real estate guy too. Getting into some of that. Some of my other side gigs that I've always wanted to do, but I've always been so busy. So, just trying to stay ahead of the game.
Man. I love the idea of what I think it's important to talk about this stuff. And sometimes I don't think we do here, even on the podcast, but we're not just you know, machines that are making music, and we're a living human being. We go to the grocery store, we take shit, you know, all that sort of stuff is real in our life just as it is in everybody else's. This just happens to be our job, right? Or what, and our passion. So like we have to separate from, it's like the heart grows fonder, right? You know, distance makes a lot of things change, and perspective is everything. And feeling it out the way that you described, as far as like those other things in your life, it's super cool to hear you say it, and it's also extremely important. You know, and people get super pissed. You can't control it.
You can't, you know, and it was scary. I don't know if I speak for the other band members, they all got jobs. You know, like they literally had to work some other jobs. I mean, we can't, you know, rock and roll, and you know, it's not, you don't get successful enough where you could just sit on your tail for years on end. I mean, you have to, I mean, everything at Pop Evil is about month to month. We got to pay the bills. You know, that's why we've had to play so much. And that's that's kind of how we built it. Like we love to play. So we never really got into it to be rich and famous. We just wanted to make sure we were, you know, famous enough, I guess, to be able to play and take care of ourselves. So when you took that away from us, we really had to like look ourselves in the mirror and go, wow, what else would we do? You know, if we didn't play. And I think, you know, it reminded guys to be like, hey, they were bored. They went up, took some jobs, so they didn't have to, you know, stress when we were going to play again, you know, and I think if anything, it strengthened band members and band members around the country or world for that matter, to be like, all right, maybe I'm not so afraid to be off for a couple months now. Now they have connections, right? Like if you're touring artists and you're off for 2 months, it's not so scary. You can go down to your friend now and your connection and go make some extra money now and not have to worry about beforehand, like if I stop playing in the band, what am I going to do? So I think it's been really eye-opening for a lot of us musicians to know that, like, okay, even though this is our main gig and this is our passion, we don't have to just rely on this anymore, you know? And I mean, I don't know how that shakes out in the long term for fans and for us bands, but, you know, I'm definitely not afraid anymore. Not playing in a band, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to go anywhere, but at the end of the day, like you said, we are normal. We do go to the grocery store. We do normal things, you know? And I think, in a weird way, I didn't know how to do those normal things. The first 2 months, I remember pissing family and friends off. They're like, when the fuck are you going back out? I'm like, hey, this is a good point. I don't know where I'm going. You know, I mean, because I didn't know how to live really. And it sounds obvious, but I'm sure you can relate if you've been touring a lot. Like, I didn't know how to sit at the house or sit around for a couple months. I've never done that in my life, you know, so in my adult life. So, you know, it took me a minute to like get into some other hobbies or get into some other like job skill sets to try to do, or even like do some carpentry, build a house, like get into some of that stuff that I hadn't done since I was in my teens, you know. And when those opportunities came up when I was young, I was like, no, fuck that. I want to do music. You know what I mean? So now going back and be like, I can't do music. Let's go back now and have all your buddies like, remember when I tried to help you all those years ago? And you're like, fuck it, I'll give you tickets. Relax. Then they smart enough, you know, because that's all they ever want, tickets from you lately. It seems like. But
it's gonna be super interesting to see. I'd be really curious that you're talking about. There's a lot of bands who people had to go get jobs. You kind of sometimes wonder, maybe they just said, okay, I've toured, I've done it. I'm gonna stick with this.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see, because I know a lot of road crew guys are like, you know, I'm not going back out again. And good to being around my family, whatever. I've got this new job. I'm good. I'd be curious to see if any bands do that.
Well, and it's interesting, you know, because I was joking, this social media age, I was joking with a friend of mine and I was just like, dude, I'm tempted to just go up to Starbucks just to say I did it. Just be hilarious to just work a 9 to 5 and no one's told me what to do like that since I was probably, you know, 12, 11. Like it would just be nice to have a schedule again, because we're so used to wake up in the tour bus, just, okay, when do we play? 10? Okay, so here's when I eat.
Yeah.
Everyone tells us what to do. So when you come back, you don't have that. So it was just like, I just think it would be, if anything, working at Starbucks and McDonald's would be a hilarious friggin' Instagram post. So, you know, talking with some of my music friends, we're just, you know, shooting the shit, just having a laugh at like, wow, like we're in the real world now. It got real quick, you know? So just doing anything again, all of it stems back to just not thinking about the fact that we can't play at the moment. And when we can play, nobody can tell us that, right? So no one knows. Obviously, we're all thinking like things are kind of opening up, we hope. But, you know, I know for you, Chad, in Michigan, like, shoot, dude, it's supposed to be, it's the worst out of any state right now. Michigan's one of them. So it's like, you know, what are we going to do? Be shut down again? This is ridiculous. Yeah. So, you know, again, I'm trying not to overthink it. I'm just, as soon as I'm on stage again singing, then I'll get excited.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I love the idea of the Starbucks thing that you said. And then also like the idea.
Would you want to see that? That'd be hilarious.
absolutely.
Not only would
Yeah,
I
it'd be
want to
great.
see it, but
Yeah.
it's also
Yeah.
like the perspective thing. You're just like, you just show up.com when things come back to you. He's like, what's up, motherfucker? I'm going to make the motherfucking meal today.
Dude, I'll make that. I'll make your damn caramel frap.
You better do that video before Elias from Nonpoint does it. So he'll beat you to the punch. Oh, he probably will. He's so into doing those little scenario videos.
Yeah,
I'm like, it totally makes sense. So
I love it. I love it.
The part where you were like, my family and friends are like, when are you gonna leave? I think about it in my head. I'm like, you just like do the fucking dishes, right? And you're like walking, like, did the dishes, and somebody's you're expecting like, you're the fucking best, yeah. Like,
I don't do dishes, man. I definitely got yelled at for dishes for sure.
Lee, you know what would be great, Lee, is if when you finally go on the road and the bus pulls up to the house, you get on clothes and your parents and your grandparents, whether they're out there, like, don't come back. Stay gone
it's
forever.
So bad. I'm such a lead singer that, like, I don't care. We have all this expensive cutlery at the beginning of COVID. I took all of it and took it to Goodwill. I'm like, we're doing paper plates. I don't do no dishes. Like, we'll just throw that stuff away. I don't have time for that. So I had to go back
silverware when you're at the
Bath and Beyond to get some dishes because I took all of it. I took all of it.
Yeah,
away.
if you're going to Buffalo Wild Wings, make sure and grab
problems.
20 knives.
Yeah. Instead of going to like Pottery Barn and getting plates, I was going to Costco and getting paper plates and paper cups. I thought, that's tour bus living to me. I don't even know. Just give me the red cup. If it's not a red cup, I won't drink out of it. You know what I mean?
You put your fucking name on it and shit, like PTSD.
Yeah, with the Sharpie. And it sits on your kitchen island all day. Don't touch my cup. Don't touch my fucking cup. It's got my name on it. I'm gonna leave it there all day. No, don't throw that away. We don't need to waste it. I'll drink out of it.
Is it broken? Is it leaking?
Is it broken? Yeah. Right on.
That's
well,
great.
let's talk about paper plate living and give us some of your ShipRocked experiences, the ones that really stuck out in your head.
Yeah, I mean, it started. I have so many good and rocky ones. I remember some of my rocky ones are just, again, I get so dizzy. I'm one of those. I don't know if it's just getting older or whatnot. I get seasick a lot, easy. So before this, I'll go early and then I'll move you up. Early days, no seasick. It was. I remember what I remember the most about my early ShipRock experience was we thought the dolphins had needed pillows because they had get sleepy. So we donated some ShipRock pillows to the dolphins in the early sessions. So the needless to say, I remember that first ShipRock experience. We didn't all the money we made, we ended up giving back to the company because we had to pay for a lot of the mishaps. But as far as the shows, unbelievable friendships were made that I remember being instilled at ShipRocked, because it's such a not only cool experience to be close with the fans, but a lot of bands come together, believe it or not, at ShipRocked, because you get to see a different side of the bands because, you're stuck on a ship and you guys can relate from being there. The casino has become such a hang spot. I remember the most recent, last time we did ShipRocked, the memories I have seem to all be around the casino tables and how much fun we all had with not only just the other celebrity rock stars on the ship, but the fans that would hang, all the cool questions coming out. So those are some that come to hand right away, and then of course the views. I think the last one was Turks and Caicos, right? That we did. So I remember being like, wow, like this water is so pure. And the cool thing about Turks was that it wasn't it's touristy, but it wasn't as touristy as the Bahamas. So you could find a spot on the beach that you felt like your own paradise. And I remember we walked down, kind of far away on the beach where there was nobody there. It was just us. And, I think back on some of those memories and again, some of my favorite memories on ShipRocked are just late nights when there's nobody around you and you just literally look back in the back of the ship and it's just straight up Titanic, man. You see nothing.
The wind is howling.
Nothing but the water, and you're like, this is insane. Like I'm on this ship with all my people, man. And it's I think about all those great shows on like that last one, but my favorite one on the deck when we pulled off, from Turks there on that when we were coming back to the U.S. It was just unbelievable seeing all those heads, all those people, and people you look up, they're all around. But again, I love the second show too, in the big main stage, in the back of the ship, the big theater. That was such a cool vibe, and unlimited ice cream. How can I not like that?
It's funny you mentioned you get to see some of your friends in a way you hadn't seen them before. It's like my thing is always like, that's what you look like in board shorts, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, you see everyone's crappy taste for bathing suits, right?
Ankles.
Sure. Everyone just showed up at Walmart the day
I'm
before
used to
and
you
got
in
the
black
leather.
jeans and black boots. Now I see your ankles. I'm just this
Yeah,
isn't right.
exactly. Yeah.
You see like Zach Wilde walk by and you're like, dude, he's got fucking ankles.
Well, dude,
Like-
real quick with Zach, the funny thing with Zach, I remember working out in the gym, and Zach comes in there and he's with his one of his guys, and he's wearing the jeans and the big construction boots and is working out. And I'm like, oh man, this guy does never leave character. It's amazing.
Oh, for sure. They all, well, I always would tease some of my rock friends because I'd be like, wow, you actually took those black pants off. You finally given those legs some sun. You'll see so many rockers that wear all black pants all the time. Their legs are completely shadow. They're just completely white. So I'm always like, oh, bro, wow, you're wearing shorts. So, we definitely get some good jokes, man. I'm sure no doubt about it.
Well,
the
listen,
best is when you're alone, right? And you're alone and no one's around you and you're just like you're just straight up like in your shorts. You're like, this feels so fucking good.
Yes, it does. Absolutely, man.
Yeah. So, listen, before we at the end of this thing, we usually do two things. We always do one. We're going to bring two. We usually walk the plank, which is 3 random questions we ask you. We just want your answer to these questions. And then the other will be, would you rather?
Okay, let's do it.
But before then, we want to know I know Team Pop Evil is working on your plans for probably the next 18 to 24 months. Can you clue us into some of them? We know some of the festivals have got you coming in. What else do you guys have on the horizon?
We got some great shows coming up with Shinedown. That's the most recent. I know they got some festivals coming in. Me personally, again, obviously I know the Shinedown stuff. It's definitely recent. I think there's a Michigan show, so I definitely. But for the most part, for me personally, I've been not. Normally, I'm all about it and I know everything going in, but I've been trying to, again, I don't want to get my hopes. And once you do that, this is a very emotional business, especially for me. So, when you write lyrics for a living, it's emotional and it's probably going to be emotional when I get back on that stage. And I don't even know, I could choke up during a couple songs just to hear everyone and see that we're actually getting back again, that I've honestly just been kind of keeping it at a distance, but I know there's some stuff booked, but again, I don't want to get excited till
okay.
I know. And maybe in June, if things start to get a little less stressed, I know that maybe it's a different response.
Remember, it's easier to cry on stage in Sheboygan than it is Los Angeles. So just do it there.
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Love it. I love it.
Oh man, it's great. So walk the plank, right? That's what
walk
we're gonna
the
do.
plank.
I wish we had some cool music. We should get some cool music where it's like
we'll have Al. Yeah, we'll have Al.
Just add some to suspense.
So we'll just give it a little. We'll give it a little bit of some space, and then Al can slip some music in there.
Okay. Let's do it.
What
slip
this
it
is?
In real slow, Al.
That's right. There we go. Real slow. Take your time with it. Enjoy. It could be the last time. Here's the deal. So walk the plank is I have a question. Chad has a question, but we'll let Chad goes first. And then basically the fans send in questions. They're never geared towards anyone. They're just a question to ask a musician whenever they get a chance.
Okay.
So that'll be that. And then would you rather is kind of self-explanatory. And we'll do one from Chad and one from myself. But Chad will start first with walk the plank.
You're getting a different vibe with the TV now. So sorry. It's just going to add to the suspense.
What is that behind there?
I have no idea what it's on. It's probably on the. Oh, there you go. Hopefully it's Sister Wives. Just kidding.
That's
I'm
great one. That's great. So the question I wanted to kind of ask you, and these are general questions. They're not related to music or anything like that. So for you, right? Think about all the times you can be on the road or at home, but what is the one thing that you think you can honestly say that you complain about the most as a person?
At home?
Period. In life.
Or just in general?
In general.
Probably that I'm cold, especially in the winter being a vocalist.
Yeah.
I'm cold, man. Definitely on the tour bus, during the, I think that's my biggest, Shelby's our tour manager. I'm like, Shelby, dude, give me a heat blanket back here, wrap my neck or put a towel around the neck. So I think definitely I would complain in the winter months, with the voice, because it's always harder to sing the older you get when it gets cold. So definitely I'd say that.
100%. It's good.
For sure.
All right. My question is this. Which of your personality traits would you like to change most?
Oh, geez. Patience, for sure. I'm trying hard to get the patients, the ability to get, but again, I think it's just a curse of being a lead singer. It's like every lead singer that wants to be like, we're impatient, we want it now. Same thing, even on the tour bus, when just getting back to the complaining about the cold weather, maybe it's the TV too, because a lot of times I'm resting in the back and you take that time. That's kind of your time to veg out during the day too, watch that TV, relax. And so if the TV's not working in the bus, definitely. So patience, definitely, I'd say I got to get better at it for sure. I change that.
What do you do? Meditation or something to kind of to find your center? What do you do?
On my list to get more into meditation. I do it every now and then, but not enough. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times, man, you just find a place. The phone helps when you have internet, so you can keep your mind, kind of. Again, sometimes I like anything that takes my mind away from the music for a minute. Because then when you get there, it's always so, even listening on the radio, I don't even listen to the same anymore. I'm always like, what compression rate's on that vocal? What mic do you think he's using? What rig are they using on their guitar tone? It's like, I can't even, I'm just like, just give me some country to listen to, just give me something where I don't even think about that. Just give me some Frank Sinatra, so I can enjoy it. So it's his
compression was good.
And it just leads to anxiety, all that nonsense.
Sure.
I got to get that compressor. What compressor is he using on that?
I'm like, what is he using on that damn mic, man? Damn, I'm calling my team, I'm calling my managers, I'm calling my producers. I'm like,
you're calling the fucking radio.
Listen to this. What's he using?
Yeah, he's using his third glass of scotch.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Speaking of scotch, sure. So this fan question, man. This one I thought was pretty good, and these are just like I said, we get them. They don't ever know who the guest is. And today's the first day that we did, second time, I guess, but first person we had as from a band doing the live thing and then cutting it off. So this question is pretty cool. What's your favorite dish at Thanksgiving dinner?
Oh man, that's great. I'm okay. Well, I'm always, obviously the turkey, got to be the special gravy, or, a lot of times too, I love the honey baked ham. I haven't been eating meat as much, so probably I crave that more, but always, I'm more a dessert guy. Of course, that's my weakness, with the tummy. But banana pudding, man, or banana cream pie. That's my whip.
Banana cream pie. Oh man.
So I just think it's an excuse. Thanksgiving's an excuse to have dessert, for sure.
Banana cream pie. I don't think
that's what I'm saying, man. I'll just rather that, for sure.
Banana cream pie. You like bananas,
for sure.
So, would you rather is very simple, self-explanatory. So, Chad, do you want to go first or shall I?
You got to go first, man.
I'll go first.
Okay.
All right, Leigh. Would you rather run at 100 miles per hour or fly at 10 miles per hour?
Run. I hate flying.
Sure. Oh, plus your lack of patience.
Exactly. Right. I'm running there now. I don't got time, and I hate everything about the beginning stages of the airport. You got to sit there and.
So to run 100 miles per hour over, just floating above the city on your wings, just kind of cruising, chilling.
No, running all
Not
day.
Not thinking about compression or anything.
You got to fall. What if you mess up and fall? That's all she.
Oh no, you'll land softly as a dove.
Oh, if you land softly all the time, you can guarantee me.
Well, I'm not dropping you from the sky, man. But okay. So 100 miles per hour, good for you. I appreciate that. That. What was the name of the guy that ran? Oh, Flash. The guy in the cartoons. Right. There we go.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd be Flash, man. I'd love that.
Chad, we've got a runner.
All right. Yep.
Well, I could get my Olympic medal. I've always wanted. So that'd be good.
That's right.
There you go. I got hidden agenda. There it is.
Exactly. No candy at Halloween, or no turkey, or no banana cream pie at Thanksgiving. Which one?
No, you already know that answer, man. I can deal without the candy, but Okay. Or what about this? What if I can just have candy and banana? Just like I said, dessert and have candy and have banana cream pie on Thanksgiving. So
just sprinkle the candy on top.
He broke the algorithm.
There it is. There it is.
Broke the algorithm.
Right.
There it is. There it is. I'll need the dentist.
Hey, can I ask one more? Because I saw it and I was like, man, this is a really good one here. Hold on. Would you rather have no one show up for your wedding or your funeral?
Oh God, I'm not a wedding guy, so I've never been. I hate weddings, dude. I can't do it. So hopefully no one showed up at my wedding for sure. I would never invite anybody, so that would be easy. I mean, funeral, I guess. I mean, I want my family there. I don't know how. I think when you do this for a living, more people there kind of freak you out. So I mean, as long as my family was there. But I guess probably nobody at my wedding for your answer.
Okay. So if you know, but no, showing at your funeral, at least you realize who you have to haunt in the afterlife.
There you go. Or who you don't have to haunt. You got to haunt everybody else.
That's right. I got my list. You just made the list, buddy. Okay, Francis.
I love it. I love
Can
it.
I ask one more? Is that cool?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, these are great.
This is interesting. This is
I got all day. I got video games behind me. That's, you know, I can see it through the screen.
You got the Fortnite up in this bitch. We got here's an interesting one. I think it's a pretty. When I thought about it when I was reading, I was like, damn, that's hard.
Yeah.
Would you rather be present for the beginning of the Earth or the end of the Earth?
Oh gosh, that's a tough one. The end, because then you figure technology would be better. Maybe you could get off this planet, you know, at least die in space rather than trying to make an effort. But beginning,
Black hole yourself.
yeah, black hole. That would be, if you're gonna go, that would be interesting. It'd be a good story when you got to, you know, heaven or hell, wherever you go. I went through a black hole, man. I went through a black hole. That's pretty rad.
Yeah, Elon sent me through the black hole.
Exactly. I got stretched out through the black hole, man. It was rad.
Excuse me, stranger. Do you know what it is?
Excuse me.
Well, listen, Leigh, thank you for indulging us with these things. This was a lot of fun, and thank you for this was a fantastic episode, and we appreciate your time. Guys, check out May 21st, Versatile, the new album. Check out all the new songs are out, including the new one, Breathe Again, which is just shooting up the charts. And as Chad said, he heard it 3 times today. So just click on the radio and you're going to hear it on your modern rock stations. So in 20 years, you'll hear it on your heritage station. But right now, you can hear it on modern rock. And obviously, these guys have been booked at some festivals. So keep your eyes on that. Fingers crossed. We won't get our hopes up just yet. But you know what? When the bus is pulling away, then we'll celebrate. Leigh, thank you. We'll do some quick housekeeping before we say a final goodbye. Guys, if you're still interested in ShipRocked 2022, we still have cabins. So go to ShipRocked.com to find cabins, or you can find cabin mates. You can join in on a quad, whatever you guys do. Also go to ShipRocked.com to check out all the new 2022 merchandise. And before we go, we want to thank our show producer, Al McManus, our show engineer, Jennifer Zito, our show coordinator, Heather Smith, and of course, the captain, Alan Kading, for making all of this available. Chad Nicefield, our host for ShipRocked 2020 and 2022. That sounds so weird, like we had a leap year or some crap.
I'm just stuck here in a constant
Leigh
circle.
from Pop Evil, you've been incredible. And thank you so much for the stories and your enthusiasm and obviously answering all our silly little questions.
Absolutely. My pleasure, man. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. We look forward to seeing you again real soon, bud.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Yeah.